I'm Clay Newman. This is the Zoo Review. We're getting domestic again with this episode, talking about the world's second biggest cat, the Maine Coon. This episode features a lot of whiskey and Campari, and a little bit of their human, my funny buddy Liz Stone. Shout out to the three of you crazy kids. Weighing in at up to 20 pounds, they are second in size only to the ragdoll. They're built for a winter in Maine and are famous for their thick, waterproof coats. The hair is very long at the bottom of their bodies, under their belly and around the feet. That way they can trudge through the snow without freezing to death. The hair's a little bit shorter on top, so when they're running through bushes, it doesn't snag on anything. And because their feet have essentially evolved into snowshoes, about 40% of Maine Coons develop a sixth toe, which is gross. That loses you adorable points there. But these are precious creatures in general. Actually, when we had the world's first official cat competition in Madison Square Garden all the way back in 1895, it was a Maine Coon that took home best cat. In terms of adorableness, they get 17 points. There's a couple different origin stories for how the Maine Coon came to be. They're probably not the combination of a cat having sex with a raccoon. They might be the descendants of Marie Antoinette's cats. Apparently, before she got the she sent all her cats to Maine in hopes of meeting them there. Well, that didn't work out so good. More than likely, they are a combination of local short-hair cats and long-hair cats brought over by the Vikings. That's going to get you a couple points in badassness if you got Viking blood in you. They are great hunters, notorious mousers, and they are very popular on farms and even on boats. So while they're not overly badass, I wouldn't call them on the top of the food chain or anything. They're Viking pirates, and that earns them a couple points. They get a score of 7. Maine Coons love water, which is a very rare characteristic for a cat. Maybe it's just because they've got thick fur, but I'm going to put it in the intelligence category because maybe they're just not so stupid that they're afraid of water. They aren't especially vocal, but that's not to say they're not loud. If you've ever lived in an apartment under one, you could definitely hear these doofuses clunking around. They're basically normal cats as far as intelligence goes. They know what they want, and they probably want food. In this category, they get a score of 9. These bad boys have a couple world records under their belt. The longest cat in the world was full Maine Coon, and the oldest cat in the world was half. They got your standard cat skills. They could catch a rodent. They could jump incredibly far distances. But the biggest thing they have going for them in the special skills category is they aren't assholes. They don't act like your average cat. They're friendly. They're silly. They love pets. They love cuddles. They might even come when you call, and some of them bring you presents.
Hi. Oh, thank you. How could I ever take a bath without a mouse? You are correct. Thank you.
They've been dubbed the dog of the cat world, which means they're my cat of choice. I've never once seen whiskey or Campari roll over on their belly, asking for pets, and then scratch the fuck out of you when you give them one. I fucking hate cats. In this category, they get a score of 8. Maine Coons had a pretty long streak as the number one cat in America, but as soon as the Persians got here, it started slipping on down the list. Actually, in the 1950s, people thought the Maine Coon was fully extinct, but breeders brought him back, as people are wont to do. Who are we to not fuck with nature? Maine Coons are now the third most popular cat in America, and they are proudly American. They're the only long-haired cat that originated here, and they're the only show cat that originated here. People really do love these animals, sometimes a little bit too much. The only successfully cloned cat was a Maine Coon back in 2004 named Little Nicky, and I'm sure that cat was precious. I'm sure it was fun. It probably came when you called it. But why would you not take an opportunity to rename a cat? Why would you go with Little Nicky too? It's the dumbest Adam Sandler movie out there, unless you're gonna call it Click. I'm gonna say, will they make it? They're not going anywhere. They got a score of 17. Well, Whiskey and Campari, I think you represented the Maine Coon pretty well, even though one time at Liz's divorce party, which is sort of like a birthday party, but much drunker, we did waste an hour and a half trying to fucking find you out on the streets when you were under the bed the whole time. Maine Coon, you've got a score of 58 points. That's tied for 7th with the Flamand Flamingo. The Flamand Flamingo? What the fuck is that? The Flamingo and the Hippopotamus. The Flamingo, Hippopotamus, Maine Coon, all pretty much identical animals. I think we knew that going in. These points make sense. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure you check out Liz Stone's social media. She's always killing it out there. There's nothing better than watching her tell jokes on a Zoom show with pictures of her ex-husband in the background. You guys have a lovely rest of your day. Stay safe out there.